She said you were
what
gonna
you
put
would
on
be
an
wearing.
outfit.
I
You
hope you
did.
got this right at least. That would
Yes,
be
I
very
said that
confusing.
and a t-shirt.
And I said that that's not an excusable outfit to be fashionably late
What
in.
Right.
We'll
Gonna
do
send
this.
this to the VL.
We have to, like, just the VO, man.
Mind you, I'm ready to vomit on camera.
All righty. Hello, everybody here. I am sick and injured Mike Jones. Mira is here as well. We are here with our two finalists, Nick Mana and Jacob Adorno. And we are here to see which one of these two will be declared the first winner of Paradox here. So here's how this will work. Both of you will have 5 minutes to make an opening statement, after which we will go through the jurors who will have 6 minutes to address the both of you and ask whatever questions they need to get the information that they will use to make the decision for who will be our winner here. So, Jacob, as outgoing deck master from the last comp, you have decided to go first with your opening statements, which means Nick, you will make closing statements first, after which we will have our vote. So, Jacob, I will set your timer for 5 minutes and I will mute. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mike. And first off, to address the jury, happy to see all of you here. For all those who can attend, hope all is well. Some of y'all have not seen in quite some time. I don't host all of y'all, so glad to see all of y'all here. And I do want to thank production for bringing me on to the season. Albeit last minute, but I'm still very grateful to be able to be part of the inaugural season of Paradox. And so I've told multiple people at 3:30, I got called by Sebastian, asked not to murder him, asked to reaffirm that I loved him, and asked to fill in a spot on this cast the day of the cast being revealed. And I knew that some people had been preparing for days, weeks in advance, and yet I was thrusted into the game day one and had to immediately start off from the back foot. And so I liken Survivor to a race and Big Brother to a marathon. And at the beginning of a race or a marathon, you don't burn yourself out quickly. You don't want to start off strong. You want to preserve some of your energy. And so my game had to be a bit more methodical and more low key, and I have to lean on the social and strategic elements of the game. I was throwing a myriad of competitions, and depending on the relationships that I was forging throughout the course of the game. So day one, day two, that first week, I had to set the tone, and I had to reassure multiple people, the people who I had played with recently, the people I haven't ever met yet before, and convincing people that not only do they want me in their end game, but they want me in their core. And not only do they want me in their core, but they want me as a final two. And I've forged many strong personal bonds throughout the duration of this game, learning to be a little bit more vulnerable and more personable in these games. And starting off, I'm getting immediately on calls. And with each deck master reign, I had to acclimate myself like a chameleon. So when Ryu wins HOH, I want to be his informant. He doesn't know anybody on the cast. I'm letting him know what he needs to know about certain cast members and letting him know if he's receiving any good or bad press from other individuals and cherry picking who I want him to feel good about and want to reassure him that feels good about him. Denson's very a big proponent of activity and building strong social bonds. And so I'm a huge proponent of getting rid of the less active people in the game and being a big cheerleader for keeping the active people together. And John, someone who's I think is very honor bound, who's tied in by loyalty and honesty. So I'm preaching honesty, loyalty, and integrity to him. And anybody from other the alliances, the myriad of alliances I've been invited to during this game, I'm huge on team until it became into the single digit phase of the game, where instead of me trying to think about what avenue is best for my group and the people I want to get there, I got most of those people there. I forged strong bonds with everybody who makes it to the final nine. And having been invited to an alliance of five called the Warnings with myself, Nick Mana, Nick City Lore, and Denson, and also having a final three with myself, Cam, and Nick Mana. But multiple branching off from that had been invited to many different configurations consisting of a lot of those same people, having alliances with Roberto, GG, John as well, Ryu as well. That put me in the position where I am right now, Index as well. And once it became single digits, I needed to think about what was best for my game. And seeing multiple people going into the end game warning me about my impending threat level. I had Ryu, Nick City, Denson all warn me that they need me and that I need them, because at some point there we are going to be perceived as the biggest threats on the board. And so my avenues was either to take some of those really big jury threats to the end game with myself, or I choose to write it out with Nick Mana, my final three with Nick Mana and Cam, and try to divide and conquer. And I feel like throughout this evening, I'm going to show that not only did I play the most well-rounded game, but also played a versatile game. That socially, I was well endeared, well positioned throughout the game. Strategically, I had tons of information. A lot of people entrusted me with things. I'd get on a call, not with the intention of people feeling okay with or liking me. I wanted them to leave that call loving me and entrusting me implicitly. And physically, I knew which competitions I needed to win and which competitions I did not need to win. I needed to pick and choose my battles. And every competition that I wanted to win throughout the season, I had won. I won Final 12 veto to ensure Lustiana didn't win because everybody else in House B were people I wanted in the end game. I won Final 6 HOH and veto to get Denson out and to make sure that the vetoes not used and the nominations stay the same. And I win Final 4 HOH and Final 3 HOH to keep my stat in check, because I, despite there being 51 days having elapsed in this game, somewhere up to 14 shield ceremonies, 14 nomination ceremonies, not once has any of the deck masters, which was 10 people, have ever said, I'm nominating Jacob Adorno. And I want to wake up every day ensuring that that was never going to happen. So best of luck to my opponent here. I can't wait to answer all the questions y'all have prepared.
All right, Jacob, thank you. And now, Nick, your time starts as soon as you take yourself off mute. Now.
Okay. Hi, everyone. It's been some time for some of you because this has been literally the longest game I've ever played. Holy fuck. So I couldn't play the way Jacob played. I can't just go on and chart people through the game. And so as I'm seeing the game form, the Wardens, and what I will later call Denson's like active onion alliance, which is this deal between the active people that excludes some of them. And it was the Wardens and Cam and John, essentially. This is essentially the big power structure for the first half of the game. I'm thinking, where do I stand in this group? I don't stand very, very good. So even though I have Jacob McCain, even though I have Denson, I'm not feeling I'm going to get to the end of this group. So I start talking to Birdo, someone who we did not come into this game well. I started talking to Calypso, who I quickly see is not a self-interest player, is very messy. So instead I start talking to Lustiana, who I really vibe with, and I really love Lustiana. And so in these early days, I am shifting towards Lustiana and Birdo as like my exit strategy. That was always my plan in this game. I always wanted to have an exit strategy if I found myself on the bottom of the majority. And so that's how we're going to start the game. Early on, I voted in the minority twice, once at the Marcel boot. Reason for this is if it's an unanimous for the second vote, the third vote will be unanimous, then the fourth vote will be unanimous, and the fifth vote will be unanimous. It's not a guarantee, but historically in these orgs, once unanimous votes start in Big Brother, they keep going, keep going, keep going. I wanted to avoid that at all costs. I'm on the block. People are more likely to hear you out and want to keep you. The second time I voted in the minority was at around Dex left. I voted to keep Dex. Not really to keep Dex, but I voted in the minority because Dex was getting blamed for a lot of the split votes that were going on. And I just thought, might as well keep a little bit of doubt in the game about who's doing what. So that was kind of like my pre-jury game. Going to the split house, I knew I was going up when Gigi won the HOH. There was nothing I could do. Everyone else was Gigi's allies. So that's the first time I get nominated in the game. And didn't really wind up mattering to go out of it. And I'm feeling really fucking nervous, y'all. Alarm bells are going off. Denson's HOH. I have multiple people telling me Denson's going to backdoor me. And I'm just like, Denson, what's up, bro? Not getting much. I feel so nervous that the mic goes up. So I have no idea to this day Denson was really going to backdoor me or everyone just blowing smoke up my ass. Who knows, man? But like, you can't control everything in this game. You know, the next round Nick City wins. I know for a fact Nick City called me out so much shit, and like 90% of it was right. I'm just like, oh fuck, man, I was right. I'm in trouble. But this round, I had put in so much work with Roberto this entire game because I generally wanted to work with Roberto. Like this isn't me blowing smoke with. I generally wanted to work with Roberto. I'd done so much work over the previous couple of rounds with Gigi ever since I was nominated by her. That these two people thought it was better for their game to keep me over John, and do that, I wound up getting into a really good spot in the live night where Cam and Jacob were kind of exposed. So as we go to this next section, I'm like, okay, I don't want to go to the end of both Cam and Jacob. That's really dangerous. So I kind of get the new plan of getting out of Denson plus one of them, and or Jacob plus Gigi or Laura and Cam. Based on how the rest of the game went, I didn't really much of a choice in how it went down. Coming into the final five, I couldn't do it then because then Laura and Gigi will take me out. And before then, Denson and Berto didn't win those HOHs. So I couldn't just, I had to take out Cam at the final four. I tried really hard to stay loyal to people when I could, but like when Berto was on the block, there was literally nothing I could do. I even was like, hey, what if we get Berto? What if, and people were like, nah. Like I knew we couldn't keep Berto. Would be funny. And it just didn't work out. And sometimes not working out, being able to bounce back is better than having control the whole time. So it shows that you can play in every position and you're not going to be tripped up by the small things. And that was like my game is don't get tripped up by the small things. Don't get tripped up when you're being targeted. Just keep your head focused, keep moving through round to round and focus on the bonds that you know you have. You know, you have Jacob, maybe not 100%, but better than most people. You know that at the very least, Denson cares about you somewhat. Let these people protect you as long as they can, and you protect them as long as you can. And it kind of worked out that I was able to win the right comp. I was able to make the right connections, and I was able to sneak to the end, despite the fact that there were multiple times when people wanted me out. And that's just how I played the games. I always wanted an exit strategy from whatever alliance I was currently in to make sure that I could get there.
All right. Wait for this thing to stop. And all right, gonna bring in juror number 1 here. It is Dex. And Dex, you have 6 minutes. You do not need to use all of it, but if you yield your time, please let us know. And
I will not be using all my 6 minutes. I'm not gonna lie. When I gotta
Right.
say no shade, probably gonna take like 2, maybe not even less. That's no shade to the finalists.
perfect. Well, that time starts now.
Okay, that's fine. So to the finalists, congratulations to the both of you. Yes, I was the last pre-juror. Fuck you. But what's his face? Oh, fuck my. Let me stop. Anyway, let me get to my questions. So the round that I actually got put up on the block, I was told that it was a rumor going around that I was coming for Jacob and Kim, which was not true. Which was not true. But how did that vote flip to me? Anyone here can answer.
I'll answer first. I'm going to come from this from my perspective. Obviously, people come to me and are saying, oh, Dex is throwing your name out. Dex is throwing Cam's name out. And for it to be so haphazard, I didn't believe you were part of this. But I noticed one thing in the game that kept happening and continued after this fact is that any type of conflict that was going on in the game, people got rid of that immediately. So there's this rumor about Cake leaking alliances and making multiple without consulting people. Cake got taken out. Shortly after this point, after your debacle with Casey during the competition, Casey and Ryu get into it. So Casey ends up going home the round after that. When the Knicks were gunning for each other at 9 and 8, then Mana stays, City goes right afterwards. And so for me, I felt that you were somebody who was being portrayed as being this wild card, somebody who was kind of throwing names that wanted to make good TV, wanted to make a big move. And especially after you had held on to that power, which is arguably the second most powerful one here, aside from Exodia. In my perspective, I'm thinking, oh, it benefits me to take out Dex at this point. There's some uncertainty going on here. Obviously, I gravitated towards you and really liked you, but I felt like a lot of people also advertising you as the person not from the active group that people would want to take further into the game. So that's why I voted for you. The grand scheme of things, I think people were framing you for doing some things you weren't doing, but for me, I felt like I wanted to take advantage of it.
Respect. Nick.
Okay, so straight up, we were talking about making a move that round. I was so down because like initially it was Casey. And I was like, bet. And then you said Jacob's name to me, and I was like, skirt that, different path. Because at that point, Jacob was the only person that was really having endgame conversations with me, or even like final 3, final 4 conversations, even people who I was supposedly in deep alliances with. So like I had to pick Jacob over everyone else. So you even saying Jacob's name was such a huge concern for me. And that kind of sucks to hear because I really did like you. But that was the only person I could trust was gonna take me far in the game, and I just had to protect him.
Okay, thank you. Also, congratulations. Wish you both the best of luck.
Good luck on your double shift tomorrow.
Don't do too much.
You yielding the rest of your time, Dex?
Yes, I'm done with it.
All right, you can if you want to go on mute and go on mute, and we will bring in the next juror, and that juror is drumroll Casey. And Casey, your 6 minutes will start now, my friend.
Okay. As you all know, I have a dog and like 4 other dogs, so 5 dogs. Can you name one of them?
Wee. Well, Winnie, but like that when you gave me the 5, so I was like, okay, let me. Can I try to name all 5? Can I try?
Yeah.
All right, but so
Wait. Nick Mana,
let
can you
Nick
name any other one besides?
I'm gonna be so real. You told me that when I was stoned out of my fucking mind.
Okay,
That first
Back to
night.
Jacob.
I'm sorry.
Back to Jacob.
all right. So Macy and Winnie, I have no idea how to say this right. It was like Dachshunds, right?
Right.
So Macy and Winnie. There's Lady, who's it was a pit. It was half pit, half. I want to say boxer, but I think there's a boxer. There's a brother boxer there. There's Rocco, and then there's Milo. Milo's a mutt.
Are you on drugs? Like, how do you know?
I remember this
What's
no. Because if not entirely for you saying wee, which my immature ass was like, oh, that's funny as fuck, haha, wee, haha, penis, and then the fact that you explained your mutt, I was like, oh, a mutt that just ended up on my lawn one day. I just thought it was funny. I
Yeah.
had dogs, and unfortunately,
You remember how
one of
I
my-
say things or whatever.
yeah, like
That's how my memory works too.
right.
Okay, cool. I mean, in this game, I really didn't do much with y'all, so I don't really know where my vote should go. Can you name a time that you lied to me and why it benefited for your game, Nick Mana?
I think the only lie I really told you was after I felt like you didn't want to play with me, was still trying to tell you I was wanting to play with you. But
Mm,
like genuinely, I just always felt like you didn't trust me in this game. So I just kind of tried to keep my distance. And even
Okay.
the round you were leaving, I told you right away, like, Casey, I don't think you're gonna get the votes. And when it looked like you might, I was like, you might, but I never told you I was gonna keep you because I
yeah,
didn't want to do that.
I don't know. Did you like my little bluffing at the end that I had the votes?
I didn't know if you were bluffing or people were lying to me genuinely.
I was just bluffing. It's just like the one crackhead move that I had left. Okay. Jacob, what about you? Did you lie to me in the game? If so, why did it benefit you?
The only time I can recall like explicitly lying to you was at the beginning, because I remember you had mentioned that people had come to you and saying, "Oh, I'm going to vote to evict you over Cake," which is not entirely true. I'm friends with Cake outside of this, and I
Yeah.
was weighing the pros and cons, and she had confided to me about something personally that was going on in her life. And I
Yeah.
felt between that and her picking me for Oscar's choice, I felt obligated to keep her initially. But obviously, I know her reputation
Mm.
precedes her. I did have that conversation with Dex, so if he told you this, like he wasn't completely lying about that. And when you confronted me, I'm thinking, no, I didn't fucking do that. Because I played with you multiple times before. Obviously, EXP. I played with you at Traders, and you see through my bullshit very quickly. And so I was like, I do not want to start off on the wrong foot and get her to think I'm already gunning for her. I'm already like
Right.
had some
Yeah,
reservations
because
know we.
I fucking knew as soon as Dex told me, I was like, this motherfucker, like I freaking knew it.
When you came to me during the Dex round and was like, "Can I explaining the thing?" It was like, "Oh, like the fear in your mind is like, oh, I hate playing with you. I don't hate playing with you at all. I was naturally, but
You
I
were in
get
between
that.
something. I get it. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, I look forward to hearing the answers because there's a lot of game that I was not here to watch. So I feel like I'm not judging you guys like well, but I don't know. We'll see how everything goes. But yeah, my vote is very much up in the air. Thank you guys. I'm done. Whatever my time, I'm done.
Thank you, Casey. Let me stop this here timer right here. Let's see if we have someone joining in. While I'm waiting for the next juror to join here, we have one who was not able to make it. So I'm going to share my screen because they were nice enough to send in a video. And that juror is Nick City. Oh, yeah, I was listening to Justin Bieber later. Don't judge me. All right. And here
Oh,
is
his
Nick.
hair looks amazing. Okay.
Here is Nick City's question.
Gee. Congratulations to the final two. So I have, I guess, the same question with both of you. I want you both to explain to me why, or not why, but essentially what happened from your point of view from my HOH through live night eviction. So like from when I went HOH through to when I got evicted. Just because I would just like some clarity on what exactly happened specifically from your two point of views. And yeah, that is my question for you guys. My apologies that I could not be at the actual Zoom call, but I am watching the stream and I'm listening to what you guys are saying. So yeah, good luck.
Okay, that did not mean to hit Hulu. All right, so I'll just set a quick 6-minute timer for Nick's question.
Did he say who he wanted to go first?
It was a question for
Yes.
both of y'all, so however y'all want to do that, but I'll start the timer now. If you each want to take 3 minutes to do that, also a 3-minute for Nick. If you want to go first, go ahead.
Okay, so essentially, we're talking, and you tell me I'm done. I go on the block. John is on the block, and Cam and Jake Bird's like, okay, bad, we can save him. We got this. We got this. I talked to Berto. Berto agrees. I tell Berto I'll pick him for house guest choice. He's a target too. He can use that on me if he wants. Da da da. I don't get house guest choice anyway. Berto wins, but at this point, we already have the vote, so Berto decides he's not gonna use it on me. That may not be his real reason, but that's the reason he gave me. Obviously, you gotta say whatever shit you gotta say in the game. But throughout the night, we're getting Gigi's vote. The Silent Killers is formed, which for like a solid maybe like 6 hours is a real Final Four. Maybe. I think up until the end of Live Night it was a real option, and then more talks happened. Like maybe not. But going into Live Night, you were just the target for our trio because we felt you were the most dangerous person left. You could have a lot of connections, you could socialize really well. I did not expect the hurt and anger that you displayed. I know it wasn't really directed at me, but I thought it was just a game moving people weren't being as withholding of their cards as they were to you, and that you really had no fucking clue what was about to happen. Obviously they told me they wanted it to be a blind side. I had warned Cam, I don't think I had time to talk to Jacob about it, but I had warned Cam and Berto, like, maybe we shouldn't make this a blind side, guys, multiple times. No one wanted to listen to me about that one. And just when I won it just had to be. Like there was no question in my mind. You had to go, and I had to leave Laura off because I thought Denson would beat her, even though I was really close to Denson. So that's my perspective of how things went down. I would say Jacob was probably the least involved in this vote, just because Cam and Berto had it so quickly, got Gigi. So like even if Jacob wanted to side with the Wardens, he was kind of like trapped in this vote. I don't think he would have anyway, question mark. Jacob will answer you in a minute. But genuinely, I really worked really hard on Berto the whole game so that when that situation happened, I could always go to Berto and Gigi and it worked out. So yeah, I feel like that explains at least my perspective of how the run worked down, and it was a lot due to the relationship between Cam and Bill with Gigi and Berto that made sure that John was not the right person to put next to him. I don't know, man. Sorry.
Right, you good with the rest of your time, Nick? All right, and Jacob, 3 minutes.
So from my perspective, I remember seeing that you had won HOH and immediately thinking, "Oh, Nick Mana is fucked." I did not obviously know who the nominee would be sitting up next to him. I know that we had been talking about, potentially like a GG, potentially John. We had a conversation going into that, and I was pushing for it to be John and Nick Mana initially up on there rather than it being Gigi and John and then backdooring Nick Mana afterwards. It gives him more time to campaign. And I wanted John up there instead of Gigi because in the world where it's Nick Mana and Gigi, they're not the best competitors. And I felt it was more likely that the nom stayed the same there. And I wanted them both in the end game. I felt Gigi wanted me at very least final four, final three. And Nick Mana had already had conversations about me about taking me to the end game. Whereas John, and I feel like his reputation kind of preceded him of being this really good physical competitor, having already swept the week when he was deck master all that time ago. And seeing that you were willing to put John in that position, I'm thinking, okay. I had already had conversations with GD leading up to 9, like immediately after the split house, about how we predicted that House A may gun for each other. And we had an actual avenue of getting there. And I go to my prod chat saying that there's a world where I can somehow get all of House B into top 5. And that's the world that we ended up living in there. And I felt that generally, I know that Denson talked about the rumor of him and John being super close due to their pre-existing relationship and you being associated with that. That was not at all due to friend Viver. I was encouraging this because I felt you were my 3 biggest threats in the end game. John was obviously a great physical competitor. You and Denson both being very equally strong social players, and especially considering me and you were the top 2 in a social comp when neither me nor you were talking. I'm thinking this guy is the one most directly posing a threat to my position in the game. So I knew I wanted John going out, but how do I go about this point? Because obviously, I feel like I have, of the people who opt to make this move, the most to sacrifice because I have a final 2 and a real final 2 with Laura. I have a really good relationship with you and with Denson and a good relationship with John at that. But I felt that at that point in the game, I need to start setting up my end game. All of my threats I wanted gone before Final 5, and I was able to accomplish that. And unfortunately, these landed on the 2 days I was most busy at work. So I'm not being around as much for those conversations. And so, like I'll continue to illustrate throughout the course of tonight, is that it's rather not just doing things in the then and now, but building myself up for coming rounds. I was already having conversations with Berto about what we do moving forward and how we can get some of these House A people out and trying to portray you as a big threat, and also having conversations about GG, about how plausible it is for us to move forward in this game. And that's what happened from my perspective.
All right. And we will bring in our next juror. And that juror is somewhere.
How plausible it is for
Ryu. And Ryu, your 6 minutes will start. And we will bring in our. Oh my God, I can hear myself. Oh my gosh. Starts now.
Oh,
You're good. You're good to go, dude.
sweet. How is everyone doing? First and foremost, the Wi-Fi is really bad in my house. So I got you guys just chill. All right. You guys just chill. And I have to congratulate you both. I think you guys both played a fantastic game. I was actually really, really impressed with both your guys' games because both you guys were obviously very social and doing a lot in the game. So I have 3 questions, okay? The first one is, this season has been full of some insanely large twists and in some crazy. They've had some very influential outcomes from these twists. For you two, what was a twist that was very detrimental to your game, and how were you able to dig yourself out? And also, what was a twist that was very good for your game? We'll start with Nick M.
Okay. So the twist that could have been the worst of my game was when Laura played, I think it was Monster Reborn, the final 7. at this point, I'm hearing that Jacob.
You guys
knew
also
about
have
it.
30 seconds to answer. Go.
Okay, sorry. Gigi knew about it, and so instead of like losing my mind, I go to Jacob and say, Jacob, I've heard all this stuff. I want to just defend yourself before I decide to turn on you. And we had that conversation. I think it really built a stronger trust for us going into the end game. And then for my good one is my power that blocked a vote. It made people more secure in making a move that round when there was one less person to piss off than had it been like a 3-2.
That was a great answer. Thank you, Nick. Jacob.
I think the most detrimental one was Exodia, like the nuance of the people getting voted off, even in the pre-jury. You kind of have to manage them on their way out. And if you don't get bequeathed like the pieces of Exodia, you're trying to figure out who gets it. But how I circumvented this is I was very open about the piece that I had. John and Nick Mana have a conversation. They recruit me to build that. So I know at least where one Exodia is. And Exodia, unfortunately, was used during your round, to which I think the most beneficial one to me was actually the split house. It gave me an opportunity to strengthen some of the bonds with the people who I trusted the most in the game. They're not spreading that much. They're not allowed to talk to many other people or network. A lot of information was coming through with me. I felt I was the safest in that position. And it gave me, like I said, a chance to strengthen those bonds and kind of leave this uncertainty, because there's a lot of people on the other house that a lot of people trusted and really wanted to work with, and the ambiguity, the uncertainty of what happened in that house, I felt that I was able to use that well.
Awesome answer. I really liked both those answers. Second question, just because I'm self-conceited, what was your plan with me going into the like latter half after the split house if I were to have made it? I want brutally honest answers. If you were going to take me out, that's cool. If you were going to bring me to the end, that's cool. I'm just curious. Nick M.
Bestie, if you didn't win that HOH when you sent K2, I was going to backdoor you. I heard you had alliances with Jacob, Denson, Nick City, Cam, etc., etc. So I'm like, okay, our alliance isn't fucking real. So get this one out. I have a better relationship with Casey. Let's try to make shit happen to Casey. You are my next target.
Yeah. Jacob.
I kind of likened you in the same vein I did like Coach John and Nick C, people I need to take out eventually before the end game started up. I was fine with you coming back after the split house, but for me, it was obviously you're a very big physical competitor. There's like a level of urgency when someone's really good at competitions. Like we need to take them out now before we lose this opportunity. And I think that played a hand into what happened over there in the split house. It's like we can let them rock fine, and me, Nick, Cam, Denson, multiple people were comparing notes about the alliances that you were forming, how you were wheeling and dealing, much like I was. So I knew that 10 or 9 would be where I would have taken you out. Not before.
Awesome. Thank you. I have to say, from those answers, actually, Nick M, your answer is much better. It changed my vote just ever so slightly, because me, like many other of the jurors, are very on the edge of trying to figure out who they want to win. So it's very competitive, which leads me to my third question. Jacob, how in God's green earth did you choose Nick M when you could have taken Gigi? That seems like an absolute horrific move. This is not for Nick M to answer. This is just for Jacob to answer.
So one thing that I'll mention in this game is that, I'm a people pleaser. I'm somebody who's very hard, and the elements of this game mentally take its toll. I feel bad backstabbing, lying people. Am I above it? No, I'm not gonna come in here and preach I'm a dishonest, integritous player. But I got in my head that the jury would be very mad at me. I felt that I built very strong bonds with people, very personal stuff. I think me and you talked about very intimate things during the first week, as did multiple other people on the jury. And my biggest fear was that if the jury is adversarial towards my game and may not be as happy with me, that I feel like if I took someone else who also was participating in a lot of the moves that I was making in the game, I felt I know Nick's game better. And I think that in the world where I take Gigi had not alienated as many people on the jury. So I know I was expecting that to come into scrutiny at some point during finale, but I was worried that the jury may not be most pleased. And so I decided to take Nick with me instead.
So what you're saying is you took Nick M with you because you think he had a... All right, you know what? Those were great answers. I appreciate it. Play hard, everyone. Play hard.
All right, Ryu, thank you so much. Okay, and our next juror, our resident block star himself, the one, the only, the fabulous Mike fucking Vaccaro. And Mike, your 6 minutes starts now.
I'm not gonna lie, I was falling asleep in the waiting room. I heard everyone speak. I'm like, oh shit, I'm awake now. Uh, you know, I left this house a 30-year-old virgin. I come back here a 31-year-old virgin. Anyway, if you hear that, that's how it felt leaving. There goes my life points. Anyway. I'm feeling kind of hungry, so I want you guys to tell me what pizza topping you think every juror is and why.
Is there someone you'd rather go first?
No, I'm really hungry. Just go for it.
Can I pull up like a cast list and like go through each person like that or no?
Strictly from memory. No, I'm just kidding. I don't
Okay.
care.
All right. I'm gonna go in juror order. Dex. Dex is fun. Dex is rambunctious. I think he wants peppers on his pizza. Casey, I think. What do I think, Casey? Casey likes dogs. There are wiener dogs, wieners, sausages. Casey has sausage on her pizza.
I was wondering where you were going with that.
I had a reason. Ryu competes a lot in volleyball. I think with like his protein. I've already said sausage. I think something a bit
Sand.
more like bacon. Sand is crazy. Mike, shiny hunter, you're gonna get peppers like Dex's, but they're a different color. They're a slightly rarer color of peppers. So I think
Red.
you'd appreciate that. Red.
I'll be red. Dex can be green.
John. What pizza topping is John? He played Mr. Krabs. I think like this very local, like recent production of SpongeBob. So pineapple lives in the pineapple under the sea. Maybe have crab on his pizza. I don't know if that's like a plausible answer.
If anyone just heard the firework that happened outside, I'm really sorry.
Did not hear that. But speaking of firework, Nick City. There was a time where I kept naming him after cities that started with C, and I'm pretty sure one of them like probably has like a topping. Let's see, like a C thing. Let's do pepperoni. Fuck it, pepperoni. Roberto. Fuck, I gotta go rapid fire. Fuck it, shit. Oh my gosh, why am I taking care of this? Roberto, I know works at a bakery. I think it's not gonna get a regular pizza. He's
I
gonna get
swear
a
to God, if you
fucking
give him the
cookie.
crust,
No,
if
I'm
you
not
make
giving
him crust, you're
I'm not
losing my
making him-
vote.
I'm not giving him. No. I said he works. I wasn't there. He works at a bakery. So instead of a regular pizza, because he's Italian, and that is a stereotype, I'm gonna make it a chocolate chip cookie. So it's chocolate and shit. Laura will also be chocolate because I'm pretty sure she sent a pic. No. That was Casey. Denson. He is. I think he likes pizza. I think let's give him ham. Let's give
I was about to say with Laura, tread lightly. I know she works at Domino's.
Laura. I also think would be a pizza head because I want to say I remember there was one time she got a pizza for lunch and then left it behind. What meat haven't I fucking used yet? What the fuck? And aside from that, I think it's gonna be a sauce. I don't know what. Don't know what sauce. Maybe she likes ranch. I don't fucking know. Cam, he is fucking fuck. Nick, I'm taking all your time. I'm so sorry. I'm actually taking this question very seriously. Cam, he likes saliva on his pizza. We were playing Uki Mouth. I spit all over his pizza. He eats that shit. And last but not least, Gianna. Gianna, I don't I mean like barbecue or buffalo chicken. Those are my answers. My fault.
Well done, I think.
Okay, I'm gonna try, but I'm gonna get to everyone because Jacob took for fucking ever and a day. Let's see.
Speed run, let's
Yeah.
go. You got this.
I think slow, bestie. Jax.
You and me both.
I think Jax would vibe with like onions, maybe. I don't know. Casey. I think Casey would like bacon. Words. Ryu. Ryu feels like a barbecue chicken pizza person. words. Who was next? It was Mike, right? You're next?
Yeah, yeah. I was about to ask, where did we leave off? If Ryu, it's me.
Okay.
I'm right here.
Yes, you. I think you feel like fancy chicken Alfredo pizza with a little pizzazz. And John, maybe like um uh, pepperoni. Nick City. Um, um, Peppers. Oh, the words.
Of all the questions to eat all the time tonight, that is the one.
Yeah, I
that
was gonna say that I think we're out of time here, so it's unfortunate. As much as I wanted to say take your time, Jacob quite literally did. And trap card activate. I'm out of here. Good luck, guys.
I took the question seriously. Sorry.
Mike,
That's very-
it's always an adventure, Mike. And up next, we've got John Farrell joining.
I was about to say he's not here yet.
Hello, John. And John, your 6 minutes starts now.
Hello, finalists. I would love to say that it's a pleasure to see you all again, but oh, time has not been good to you all. I mean, you guys have been sitting there in torture having to play this game. Well, yes, Laura played the Monster Reborn card, but yes, now it is Monster Born time because all you have done is just created a whole bunch of monsters here in this jury. Oh, and how much I really do hate you all for putting me here with these horrible, horrible cretins. Because you know what? I am just ready to just unleash just a whole bunch of just, oh, the pain that you have caused. Oh, and I can't wait to just relish it back to you guys. Because it's been a long time since I've seen you. And you know what, Nick? It's been a little bit more recent because I get to have that lovely talk with you. And I thank you for letting me just unleash those vibes. Now, I hate seeing you guys just relish in the fact of how much you guys have succeeded because it's been 51 days. No one is perfect. I'd like to start by asking you all what mistakes you have made and what did you do to get past them. Let's start in alphabetical order. Let's see if you can figure that part out first.
Go forwards, alphabetical order, or backwards alphabetical order.
I said alphabetical. I did
just wanna
not
make
say
sure.
anything about reverse.
Sorry, you cut off for a little bit. Mistakes that I made in the game. I know that there were days where I had not been the most active, specifically during banishment ceremonies, because work gets in the way, personal life gets in the way. Always have to take care of my nieces. And I felt that either I would try my best the following day to try to catch up on those conversations or try to play into that. It's like, look, I was not around. The jury despises me. I want to sell to other people in the end game, hey, the jury is very adversarial towards me. They're not really so pleased with me. And lots of them I burned on the way out or did not give them the benefit of the doubt when pitching to me as to whether or not they should stay. I felt that I had to use that to my advantage, and any shortcoming I came into, I played into as a reason for Nick or other people to take me to the end. Another mistake that I made in the game, and this is probably the biggest social faux pas. I feel like well, actually, there's two. One was me and Denson did not talk during 7, which I think was the most shining example of someone whom I felt I mismanaged on my way out and mistreated, and had to then use like, Denson's not happy with me right now. We have not talked at all since the live night ceremony. But I felt the biggest mistake for me was not warning Laura, at least. I don't think I made that right on a game level. On a personal level, I feel like we were able to reconcile. And that was the person who, up until that point, genuinely was my number one in the game. But her side was way too threatening for me to keep pushing forward. And I saw better pastures individually on the other side. And while we were able to reconcile, we've been able to play Mario Party since then. Continue to get to watch her Twitch streams on a personal level, on a game level. I don't think I was able to reconcile that. And for all the hell I know, me taking Nick might have been a mistake, but we'll see later on tonight.
Nick Mana, the floor is yours.
I would say my biggest mistake in this game was a lot of the early game is I was making all these bonds with the outsiders that were not in the majority, and it put me in a really weak position in the majority where, yes, I had these ways to get out of it, and I was able to, just due to the right combination of HOHs and vetoes that allowed you to go out, Nick City to go out, Berto to go out, and able to rectify it. But like I was at the bottom of that majority structure. They had fully kicked me out of the alliance, made a new chat. Like my willingness to work with Lustiana, with Berto, my willingness to call out Nick City, like this put me on the outside, and I actually did have to recover and show that I could recover in the game. And I didn't have to do that, but I really like Lustiana and Berto, and I'd rather play with them than Nick City, who I didn't trust.
Interesting. Next question goes back to Jacob. Jacob, how much of an idiot do you take me for? You talked about how much I was a threat early in the game, but yet the two comps that I won were both mental comps. Now, do you think that I would not be going mental if I were to find out that you just were pretty much laughing in my face as I were getting blindsided going out and hearing about that in Jury House?
I never took you for an idiot at all, John. I know that the two comps you won were mental, and I think that a lot of people portraying you as this physical threat was looking at past games and your track record rather than it explicitly being here. And I don't take you for an idiot at all.
But yet, you treated me like a fool. That whole entire round I was going out. So we'll leave it at that. There's still quite a few more jurors to eat you up along the way. I would like to say that I wish you well in dealing with them, but I don't care. I wish you the most of time. Screw that. Fuck that. I hate you all. Go fight hard. Go get that win. Lights out.
That was give it up for John. That was brilliant. Which brings us to our next juror. And again, he was unable to make it tonight, but he did send in a video. Give it up for Roberto.
Hello, guys. Congrats on making it to the final two. Sorry, I'm not going to be able to attend. I have work in the morning, so I'm just going to give my questions here. Jacob, I don't know what kind of game you've been playing, besides you having a really good social game and making numerous final twos with a lot of people, which honestly, that's textbook, like Big Brother Survivor Strategy 101. But besides that, what else did you do? What kind of moves that you did that catapult yourself to the end? That's what I wanted to know from like that point forward, because you did backstab a lot of people. Like, let's just put up front there. You did. And you backstabbed me. You backstabbed Cam. You backstabbed John. You backstabbed Nick C. You backstabbed a lot of people. So what did you do that really catapulted yourself to the end, and why you feel like it is necessary to cut ties, knowing that some of the jury members are going to be better? Nick App, I already have an idea of what kind of game you played. I just want to know, from your end, where do you stand with me now that we have played this game? That's all I want to know. I don't really give a shit that you kind of lied a little bit to me on my way out. I genuinely knew that you were gonna already got to do that, so it's whatever. I just want to know, where do you stand with me after this game? And was I high up in your trust rankings? I highly doubt it, but I just wanted to see. Anyways, congrats again to the final two, and I can't wait to hear you guys' answers. Bye.
All right, just like last time, we'll start with 3 minutes. And who would like to go first? All right, Nick, you have 3 minutes for Roberto's question.
Okay, so for the first part, Berto, hit me up anytime. We'll fucking play Yu-Gi-Oh! Or some nerd game shit. Like, I really felt I connected with you in this game. We had a lot of real conversations. We had a horrible history, man. But like genuinely, you're one of my favorite people in this game. I genuinely put my game in danger multiple times to connect with you and keep you in the game. And at that last one, I just couldn't do it anymore. Trust ranking rise. There was actually rounds you were like 1 or 2, and there's rounds you were like 9 or 10. Because again, we have an up and down relationship, and it wasn't until around the time that the Dragon Balls were formed and Ryu left that I really started to trust you and see that you were a viable option to get really far into the game. And it just didn't work out the way that I would have wanted it to because you were just winning too much and you put too big of a target on yourself. But like genuinely, this was the first game that I felt like I've connected with you and we got to have like human conversations and not like us bullshitting each other. So that was a really nice change to get to see like a human side of Birdo, and you're a really cool dude, man.
You be yielding the rest of your time, Nick? All right, Jacob, 3 minutes for Roberto's question.
So of course I forged all these really strong relationships, multiple final twos, multiple deals. I was wheeling and dealing. For me, I saw this game in sectors. And I felt like to get from 18 to 13, from 13 to 9, from 9 to 6, and from 6 to the final two, I had to exercise all the options that I had possible. Based on the relationships I was forging with these people, who can I take further on into the game? I still had to think strategically about who was genuine, who was honest, and trying to take advantage because a lot of people gave me information. A lot of people were venting to or ranting to me about other players in the game. Prime example, during the split house, Laura is telling me on call that she's deliberately asking GG for information about who her nominations would be, knowing good and well, I mean, she's probably not going to. And GG had already confessed to already having considered putting Laura up if she had won HOH and Laura did not use that power. And in that same vein, I'm seeing GG vent to me about Lord trying to be sneaky about that. So situations like that where I found myself fanning some of the flames of conflicts that did not involve me to set other people apart from each other. Because as those were two people I was very close with in the game, I did not want them comparing notes in the game. Now, obviously, I know people are naturally going to compare a lot of notes in the jury. I'm confident in my ability to articulate my game, explain myself, and the relationships that I built throughout the game being genuine and strong that people can forgive me and people can understand the merits to my game on a social and strategic level. And on a physical level, I was still also playing strategically early on because I had to pick and choose which competitions I needed to win. I wanted to manage my threat level. There was Ryu early on in the game, Roberto, you in the mid to sort of approaching the end game, winning lots of competitions back to back to back to back to back. And some of those competitions being one I think I could have been very competitive in. But I knew that with this game being as long as it is, the more days that pass on, the more opportunities there can be for people to unravel someone's game, to compare notes in the game. I trusted my ability tonight to be able to right some of those wrongs, defend and justify the moves I made throughout the game, and show that, much to Nick Mana's credit earlier, to play a versatile game. I felt that I played from the top, being a lot of people at the top of lots of people's trust rankings, being one of their closest confidants when they were making deckmaster decisions. I felt I was playing the middle, being between multiple different avenues, specifically at 9, having to choose between Nick, Cam, you, and Gigi, and the other Nick, Denson, Laura, and John, and playing from a more spot of adversary when people in the game started comparing us as to what I was doing throughout the game, omitting information, keeping secrets to myself, and I was able to thrive in all of those and not touch the block at all.
Okay, yielding the rest of your time, Jacob. All right.
Yeah.
And our next juror is Denson. There it is. All right, Denson, your 6 minutes starts now.
Yeah, y'all, congrats. May the best person win, and good luck. And I'll get away the rest of my time.
All right, thank you. Let me get our next juror in here. Sorry for the dead air. Our next juror is Laura. All right, Laura, your 6 minutes will start now.
All right. So first off, I just want to say if any of you had gotten my hat logo question thing wrong, y'all were losing my vote because of course it's Domino's. I just had to say that. Um, anyway, congrats on making it to final two. Up front, I want both of you to know, even though I was really close with Jacob through this game, my vote's up in the air. I just want to hear your honest answers to my questions. And I will give both of you a chance to respond to anything that's been said if there's time. But I'm gonna start with Jacob. So I just want to clarify something really quickly. After live night, we had a conversation where you were explaining what happened during Nick City's HOH. I just want to know how much of that was true and how much of it was damage control.
That's why I'm trying to remember, because I know me, Nick, and Cam. I think Nick especially was cognizant of the fact that I had a close relationship with you, and while I wanted Nick C and Denson shortly after this, you were someone I was advocating for taking even further along into the game. I was advocating for you to be the one at 4 with the 3 of us, and part of it was damage control. The only thing that I lied about was my willingness to vote for Nick Mana over John. The way I portrayed it was like, oh, I'm voted last minute, as though like I don't know. There's uncertainty. I think there was a plan made
Right.
without me. I was integral to creating that plan from the jump at the beginning of the week, seeing that John is actually going to be the nom sitting up against Nick. I had considered and weighed the pros and cons of voting Nick Mana, feigning ignorance so that I could still be good with both the Wardens and the Silent Killers moving forward. But I feel like at that point I had to choose a side, which is why I opted to vote for John over there.
Okay. And I also want to mention, as far as I remember, you were not nominated at all throughout this whole game, which honestly is extremely impressive. But you did seem to be close with a lot of people, so I want to know where your true loyalty was throughout this game. Like, who were you closest to
So at the beginning
in
of the
all
game,
actuality?
at the beginning of the game, you were my final 2. I had formed close bonds, obviously, with Nick, Cam, Gigi, Roberto, Denson, John, a lot of the people who end up making the end game. Get along with Dex very well. Me and Mike stayed in relative close touch outside of here, leading up to this. John as well. And going into the mid game, I'm teetering down a bit on the rest of the Wardens. Like you and Nick Manor were always very close, and for a good chunk of the game, you guys were my top 2. But I saw Nick City kind of dropping down. I saw Coach dropping down, and you guys staying up. But knowing me insisting to Nick to build a strong relationship with you, it's like I'm not getting much from Lore, and I'm trying to nudge him in the direction of you two getting closer because I want you guys both further along in the game, and for it to be in both of your best interests, or to be more believable, it's in your best interest to keep each other there. Coming into live night, my top priorities were myself, Nick Mana, and Cam having good relationships with Gigi and Roberto leading up to that round to kind of encourage them and empower them to make this move, to take this from like the big dogs of the game, pitting them against John, Nick City, and Denson, the people who've been running the game the whole time. And you, like I've mentioned with you, you're kind of rocky. It was kind of like you were like 3rd, maybe 4th in that, someone who I still trusted more and had felt loyal to leading up until that point. But obviously all the stuff that I had done during live night and all the stuff that comes out after the fact that I was still doing at that point, I didn't feel like I could take you much further than 4th. I felt like if I was making an emotional decision, I'd take you further, but I was like, I don't want to make an emotional decision.
That's fair. All right. So, Nick, on the other side of Jacob, you survived being on the block a couple of times. I want to know your argument why that should hold more weight than Jacob, who wasn't on the block at all. Like, is it better to survive being on the block or to avoid being in that situation in the first place?
But yeah, for some part, you have no control over what the comps are. There are definitely people in the end game that would have nominated Jacob had they won, but from the final 8 onwards, our trio had every single HOH. There was never a chance for Jacob to go on the block in that back half when people actively wanted Jacob out. In the earlier half, GG wins in a split house. We're the only 2 people GG isn't like ride or die with. Like that's like her 4 or 5 top allies that are there with us. You playing that power? Who I wonder who's gonna go up. What in the God's name am I gonna do to not go on the block that round? But I was safe. Like Lestiana was gonna go home. There was nothing to be done. When Nick put me up, again, what in God's green earth am I gonna do to stay off the block that round? But John goes up and I come up with a plan to make sure that I'm safe. I think the ability to survive on the block is a lot harder because people are so, especially on making a big move, people are so hesitant to make moves that will piss a lot of people off because, well, they're going to win HOH, especially when all the comp players were on the other side of the bird. Like, these people were all teaming up to make a move against it when we had a combined, what, 2 comp wins at this point? So I feel like convincing people to do that was a big risk, and my ability to survive the block is a lot stronger just because I had to survive a vote that I essentially had to flip, and I had to survive a vote that there no way I was going to block.
Okay. Well, we are running out of time. Thank you guys so much for answering. No matter how this vote goes, I've loved playing with both of you, loved getting to know both of you. You guys both played strong games, and clearly you did something right because you're there and I'm not. So good luck, both of you guys.
All right, thank you, Laura. And now our second to last juror. It's Cameron. I mean, sorry, it's Cam. All right, Cam, your 6 minutes starts now.
All right, first off, I want to say fuck both of you. You both stink. Just kidding. Congrats. Like you both absolutely deserve to be at the end, in my opinion. You both ate this game down, and like whoever wins is gonna be deserving. However, I said I was gonna be petty, so I'm gonna be petty. So I will start with Jacob. So you nominated me during round 4, ruining my nomination streak. Fuck you, by the way, for doing that. And your reasoning was because Nick Mana was paranoid or something along the lines, which I don't know if that was the full truth, but and then around the time it was eviction, you and Nick were in that Zoom for a pretty long time. So I would assume that's when you found out that I was going, but I want to know if it's like, did you know the whole time? Was it your plan for me to go if you won Final Four HOH, or was it just like a last minute thing that Nick did without your knowledge?
No, so I did not want you to go at 4 at all. So obviously you find out that I knew about Laura's power. I was omitting a power myself. You were the person after the live night I was intending on taking to final 2 because both me and you had multiple conversations of Nick Mana saying, "Oh, the jury hates the 2 of yours guts. Everyone's like burning you guys." I'm like, I think it makes most sense for me to take you to final 2, but obviously I don't want to convey that. And Nick being as paranoid as he was leading into the live night, I'm thinking if I take you off the block, if I keep you off, not only I think would that maybe portray the narrative of me friend Vivering, like, oh, I'm clearly protecting Cam, it's me and Cam all the way to the end. I felt that would be bad for my game. Now, am I above like trying to cut you down? No, I omit the fact that I knew about Laura's power. And despite the fact that I had the opportunity to nullify it, I don't do this because in the world where Denson or Laura don't win veto at 7, Laura uses the power, Roberto goes up, and I'm pretty much the one deciding who goes home. We have Gigi and you, who I think were very adamant about wanting Denson gone at that point. You have Nick and Laura, who are both very close with Denson, and by proxy would want Roberto to go over him. And I am pretty much choosing whether or not it ties, therefore you break the tie, or if it's a 3-1, Roberto ends up going and Denson goes at 6 instead. But I get invited to that call. First thing Nick says is like, do we take the shot now? And obviously, I don't want to fight super hard for you and make it very abundantly clear that I was going to take you. So I'm like, I don't think this matters. And me and you had a conversation, obviously, having our history with throwing multiple competitions throughout the game, where we joked that we'd throw part 1 if it like made sense for us. So I bet just like, dude, we talked about this. Like, I don't think we need to worry about Cam potentially winning part one because Nick Mana's whole thing was me and him getting there. And he felt that GG was more of a plausible person to take to 3 to ensure that it was me and him.
All right.
I did not know until he pulled me into that breakout room. He was really considering it.
All right, word. And now we go to Nick. So, obviously, as Jacob mentioned, he was talking about taking me to final two, but you were doing the same thing. You were doing the exact same thing to me. We had a three-way final two thing going on, and we all know we had that three-way final two going on. But the strange thing is that even after the veto was not used, the nom stayed the same. You were still pushing that narrative that you were going to take me to the end. Even on the Zoom where it was just us one-on-one right before the votes. So I don't know how to feel about that, to be so honest. And also the whole narrative that the jury like did not respect my game at all thing. Nah. But yeah, I just want to know, like, what was the reasoning behind all of that?
Okay, so one, I didn't know if I was going to be able to physically say your name to vote you out. Straight up. I was, because like, dude, you know, I fucking really bond with you. I really like you. Even though I knew it was better for my game to not let the two of you in the final three with me because I felt I would get third. I didn't know if I would have the capability in me to cut you. And even as I'm talking, Jacob had actually almost convinced me to keep you. And I go in there and I start talking. I'm like, no, this is way too shitty. There's no chance Cam will take me anymore. And I said your name and I did what I thought I had to. But when I'm talking to you, I still was not 100%. I was still like, I don't know if I can vote Cam out. And I feel so bad. But when I'm talking, I just knew I had to do it. And I do feel bad. Like, there was no reason at that point. I should have said, Cam, I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do. And I think you would have respected that more. But
All right. Well, I appreciate the honesty from both of you. Congratulations again on making it to the end, even though I should be there. I should be there. But yeah, best of luck to both of you. I have no questions. I'm still like up and down with where my vote is because I respect both of your games. So best of luck.
All right, Cam, thank you so much. And last but certainly not least, our final juror and the last question before closing statements. Gigi, Madam Butterfly herself. And Gigi, your 6 minutes will start now.
All right, congrats, guys. I'm making it to the end. I will say this. Kind of like what I'm wanting to know too, because I will say when it came to the final three and everything and Jacob winning, I actually poured my heart out saying why I feel I should go to the end with you, Jacob. And it only took Nick a couple of seconds, or it wasn't even that long, maybe a minute. I don't even know. So, like, did you already have it set in stone that you were going to take Nick, or did you actually think about taking me?
I did actually think about taking you. I was still in there. Yes, Nick Manic concedes most of his time because he thinks it's a foregone conclusion. I'm going to be taking him at that point. But I'm going to talking to Mike because he ends up in the breakout room with me and I'm weighing the pros and cons, trying to decipher how the jury perceives me in the game. I know that I have a lot of explaining to do. And the biggest worry was, will the jury give me the grace to hear me out? Or the jury just done with me, like, fuck Jacob. Like, we're not going to vote for him to win. And in that case, then I need to take the person whom I think was more adversarial to a good chunk of the jury. No one had beef with you. So I genuinely was weighing the pros and cons of whether or not I take you or I take Nick. I know Ryu mentioned earlier that may have been a faulty or asinine move, but I was weighing it out. No, I was not set in stone going in.
Okay, because when I went into jury and I even asked, it wasn't certain that they were all going to vote me to win, or I was going to have a lot of votes. It wasn't. I still would have had to say my speech. I still would have had to answer questions and everything. So it still would have been an even playing field. It wouldn't have just been almost me. Just so you know. Also, do you feel that you redeemed, because this was supposed to be our redemption game, to actually have a chance to actually work together and stuff? Do you feel you redeemed me, or do you not?
I think I could have done a better job. Yes, I very much could have easily done that. I feel obviously you're a very loyal player. Every time we come into a game together, the first thing we talk about is this is going to be the game. This isn't the first time that we've had this conversation. And you're somebody who I wanted to take very far, not just because I felt that was best for my game, but just like on my conscience. Because like you've been a big proponent of like I never would have done that to you. I never would have voted you, Jacob. You're my person. You're my guy. You're my person. And I think that this end game, the way that it panned out, it was very obvious whom my loyalty and my priorities were. And I don't want you to think any of the conversations we had were disingenuous, or they were fabricated so that you felt good with me and had to like kiss your ass like leading up to like a blind side or any type of ceremony and stuff like that. So I think in a way, I'm glad we were able to make it to as far as we did together. I'm glad we made it to final three. Even though I voted for you at 5, it was more of loyalty to lore than anything against you. And same thing at 4. But I know I could have done better. Obviously, I could have taken you, and that would have been the perfect cap end to redemption. But I'm glad we got to make it far together.
All righty. Nick, so when we actually finally started talking and everything, was that real, or was that you just trying to make sure you get into the end game and, me not trying to come after you?
Of course, there's an element of I don't want you to come after me, but like I genuinely was like, oh my god, Gigi's really fucking smart. Gigi has the same plans I have, with the same targets, other than Denson. That was the only one we kind of disagreed on. But you were the person who was most outside of my alliance wanting to go for Nixie for John. I was like, bet. And then we talked again at the final fight after I nominated you. I'm like, oh, Gigi's actually a really solid person to go for in the game with. And I can't go into Cam and Jacob. And I told you straight up, Gigi, I want you to go to the final 3 with Jacob. I told you that right away, and I stuck to that. And I really enjoyed working with you, Gigi. I feel like it took forever in the game for us to get together, but in that end game, we really buckled down and we took out the people who needed to go.
All right. One more quick question. Was for both of you. Pick a movie character or a TV show character. Could be a Survivor contestant or what have you. Pick one that describes you and why, and pick one that describes me and why.
Yeah, someone you want to go first.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Jacob, go ahead.
I'm thinking of one for you, because the one for me, I grew up watching Hey Arnold. I loved Arnold. Arnold Shortman is this guy who, like, at first started off as just this nice kid that had like really like good like intentions, but then became like a lot of people's therapist over time. I think not only that tracks like yeah, but then slowly over the course of the series, he became like a therapist. He wanted to solve all the people's problems. I think in real life, that's something that I struggle with a lot. So that's that. And in the game, I think a lot of people were confiding in me and trusting me with a lot of information, whereas Arnold, I think, was also that for a lot of his friends. You, I think. Actually, I'm gonna pick. Did you watch Hey Arnold like that growing up, or?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, really? So the person I'm gonna give you, hear me out. I think that. Hear me out. I think you're Gerald. Gerald's very chill dude. Gerald's very straight up, Gerald's straight to the point. He's very true blue. He's a loyal friend. He doesn't switch up on people automatically. And even like when like there's piles of information or evidence saying like I can't trust Arnold's like, nah, I'm riding with my boy Arnold. So yeah.
All right. I don't think you're gonna have much time, Nick.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with you. I'm gonna pick Victoria from How I Met Your Mother. She was a real one. She said, no, cut your crap. It's me or that bitch that you're in love with. She always knew the real shit, and that's what you did every second of the day.
All right. Gigi, thank you. So, finalists, you have gotten questions, statements from the jury, and now it is time for your closing remarks. Jacob, since you went first, Nick, you will go first. You will have 5 minutes, and if you choose to yield your time, please let me know. But now is the time for your closing statements.
Okay, guys, we've seen it this whole time. I'm not a charmer like Jacob. I couldn't play the game where I'm besties with every single person. I mean, I tried to form real relationships with people, but like Jacob's so lovable, and I had to play a different game. I always had to try and find people to work with, and that just happened to be the people that didn't have as many relationships because they were more amenable to working with me. And you can't like force relationships. You cannot force alliances. You have to do what makes sense, what the vibe, and you have to work with people that you can trust and that you vibe with because they're more likely to stick with you. So when the people on the jury that like I might have liked you, but I wasn't feeling the same back, and maybe like I'm sure most people like me on a personal level. Maybe you're fucking mad at me on a game level, but that's the decisions I had to make. I decided very early into the merge that like I either had to take Denson plus one of Cam or Jacob, or taking Jacob slash Gigi and Cam slash Laura. And just based on the configuration of the endgame, it just had to be Jacob and Gigi. And I worked really hard to make sure that that was the final three. I worked really hard in this game to ensure that I was safe as many rounds as I could. The only times I went out is when there was nothing in the world I could have said that I was going on the block. And the rounds that I did go on the block, I stayed in the game. So I was always trying to make sure that I always had exit strategies to leave the current alliance I was in and go to a newer, better alliance of people that were going to be more loyal to me, because I'm not going to stick to an alliance if they're not going to take me to the end of this game. The only reason I stuck with Jacob is because I didn't have a choice, man. Because Jacob definitely was not ride or die with me this whole game. But Jacob was willing to take me really far, and I just had to really work with what I was given in this game. I really tried so hard, y'all, and I was willing to take Cam out, which like that sucked, man. Like I really liked Cam. I was willing to go vote for Denson. Something I'm not normally willing to do. I'm not willing to like throw someone a pity vote. But like on a genuine level, I was like, why am I gonna vote Denson here? If Gigi votes to keep Denson too, Denson stays. I don't know what the people are gonna do. I wanted to keep Denson in the game, and I told Denson, I'm going to keep you for selfish reasons. And if you stay, you stay. And if you don't, you don't. And I was willing to do that multiple times in this game. I was willing to protect people that showed me that they were worthy of protecting, or who were willing to work with me. And the people who I felt were gutting for me, I just needed to get rid of them. And I just had to trust my gut, because that's all you can do is you can trust the vibes and the gut. Don't overcomplicate it up here. Be like, no, this is what I feel here. I'm going with that. I'm going to trust that. And that got me to the end of this game, constantly trusting that the decisions I was making were the right decisions and not trying to question them. Yes, I would be a fucking wreck sometimes going into these live events because there's so little time, and that's where I'm weak. I like having time to talk to people, because when I can get on call with people, I can sit there and talk to them and talk to them and talk to them and talk to them. I can usually make at least a little bit of progress with our relationship. And it wasn't just game, it was I had some human conversations with people. I had game conversations with people. I really got to enjoy seeing everyone in this game. And I feel like I had a hand in almost everyone leaving. And I don't think most people were aware of that until later in the game. And in the end game, due to the obsession of targeting and splitting up Cam and Jacob, I was able to ride both sides and have the most power in the end game. Yes, I couldn't always get my targets out, but I was the safest person up until like final 4 or 3. That like I was never really in danger for most of the end game due to the way I played the first 2/3 of the game. I feel like my ability to navigate the game and flip-flop and all that stuff was really strong. I said very early on in this game, there's a lot of people playing a rat floater game in this game. There's a lot of people playing a floater game. There's a lot of people doing this. And I would admit right away that I was one of those people. I didn't want people to be like, Nick, you lied and backed up everyone, and you were so fake, and you said you were playing honest, and da-da. I told the majority of you, I'm playing a rat floater game, and if people trusted me, knowing that, they did it for their own reasons. And I wanted to make sure that people knew that I was coming to them from a genuine place of how I was playing this game and what I was trying to do. And I tried not to promise people things that I couldn't keep up to. Sometimes I failed, because sometimes you just have to say things. Sometimes you just kind of, you know, when you're like stressed, sometimes things come out and you didn't mean it. And I never meant to hurt anyone. I tried my best not to hurt anyone. I didn't want to be malicious. No one wants to be malicious in these games, I don't think. And I did the best that I could. Thank you, Prod, for having me. It has been a long, exhausting game. Fuck deal, no deal. Jacob, good luck. You have done amazingly, and I will be very happy if you win. But of course, I would prefer to be the winner. And thank you, jurors, for being a part of this amazing experience.
All right, Nick, that is your 5 minutes. And now, Jacob, it is your turn. Close us out.
Thank you, everybody, for asking me the questions here. Now, to start off, I'm talking about my case. all these meds that I take for anxiety, for stress, for depression, for ADHD, the game took a humongous toll on me. Because every morning that I woke up, I was thinking, how do I improve my position moving forward? Nick Mana preaches about how he was able to play the middle and exercise both sides in the end game. It took him 11 rounds to do what I've been doing from the very beginning. I forged genuine bonds with people. And at that point, I was playing the middle. I was exercising all of my options, every time weighing pros and cons, and I had to acclimate myself to how the house was going. If people were saying they were acting indifferent, I pretended I was indifferent in times where I was very confident and forthright about who I wanted to send home during that round. And slowly approaching the mid game, I felt I was at the top. I was at the top of a lot of people's trust rankings. I was in a lot of people's end game plans, and multiple people, Nick, Lore, Cam, Gigi, Berto, had considered me as someone that they want to take all the way up to the final two. I had positioned myself to where, yes, Nick Mana may have played a safer end game and had more control, but a lot of tonight he said that there was things out of his control. He failed to be able to save Roberto. He failed at getting Denson out. These two people who are bigger proponents for him than they were to me. And I made it to Final Five with the goal of having all the house beat people left in, because that would put me in the best position moving forward. Me choosing not to nullify Lore's power during Cam's HOH was perfect for me, because either the veto is not won or used by either the nominees, Laura goes down, and I am the deciding vote between Denson or Roberto at 7, choosing a huge jury threat or a huge physical threat, or in the world that this does happen and the veto is used, even in the world where a Laura, a Gigi, a Denson win HOH and put me and Cam up on the block. Cam is more likely to go home than myself. So I am still safe in this endgame. And showing that I had been throwing multiple competitions and won a myriad of different formats. I've won a mental comp, an endurance comp, a luck-based comp, a skill-based comp. I won a social comp without even fucking talking to people and just showing up index cards. To me, being able to make it here 51 days, not having been nominated once is not a mistake. It's not deals and alliances falling onto my lap. I have to work my ass off in turn to maintain those relationships all throughout. And I forged some genuine bonds with people. I knew that tonight I was going to come under a lot of fire for some of the backstabbing, the lying, the manipulation I did. But I knew that every call I had to join on, I had to put on a squeaky clean smile. And I think a lot of people didn't assume that I was willing to backstab and lie and betray people. And while some people may not take too much stock in touchy subjects, I think the 4 superlatives that I won is most indicative of the game that I wanted to play and the position I wanted to be in all the way throughout. I was forging genuine friendships with people, which is why I won most likely to be everyone's best friend outside of here. Keeping a close eye and keeping a close ear to people's personal problems, tending to their problems, and being someone that they can confide with on a strategic level as well. And somebody whom, despite literally having the HOH handed to him, turned it down in front of everybody, I don't end up on the block that round. And rounds afterwards, I'm voted for the most trustworthy person left in the game. And that is not a mistake at all. If you want to vote for somebody who played the best end game and played the most overtly strategic game, then obviously you're voting for Nick Mana. But this isn't just a strategy. You need the social and you need the physical. And I feel like I played the most rounded game here. Socially, I was very well ingrained. I was in a lot of the plans, and I was one of the deciding factors into multiple votes throughout this game. Strategically, I knew what was my best path moving forward. I had multiple different avenues. Nick Mana kept talking about how he was forced to due to comp results or configurations of things. I was not forced at any point to do anything in this game. I had a say in any decision that I made, and my hand was never forced. And on a physical level, either I tied the record with Roberto, or if you count the HOH that I had won and turned down, I have the most competition wins. I played the most versatile game here, playing from the top, playing from the middle, and playing from a place of adversary where tons of people are trying to ravage my game. And yet I'm still able to make it here. 51 days later, not a single time had I sat up and been a potential nominee for banishment. And I hope that I'm a nominee and a worthy representative of Paradox Big Brother. I was not supposed to be here. People had days, weeks in advance to prepare for this game. I was thrown in the day of and was told that I need to insulate myself. I did not waste a single moment of this game. Every moment I'm on Discord, I'm at work, I'm about to ready to sleep, I'm showering, anything, I'm thinking about this game. This game meant everything to me. First ever Big Brother finale. I'm proud of the game that I played. Appreciate y'all for giving me a chance to plead my case, and I hope they vote for me to win. I played the most well-rounded game. I worked my ass off, and if there's anybody who feels personally burned, I apologize, but I will not apologize for any moves I made in this game. Thank you. Good luck, Nick.
All right. Finalists, you have Major please, jurors. Great job questioning them. Finalists, great performance. And now, for the last time, jurors, it is time to lock your vote, confirm your vote, or change your vote. And I will be returning momentarily. Well, actually, Zeb will be returning momentarily with the votes. So please now confirm your votes.
Nick, you're not gonna go back on camera? That's crazy.
And also, we are live in the VL, and now's a good time for the last time for shout outs.
I guess I'll shout out Lyndon and Austin, who probably will never watch this, but thank you for being in my broad chat. Lyndon, especially for keeping me calm. Austin, thanks for your mostly silent support. I love you both.
Shout out to Aaliyah, the only person who was on my project who is watching this and just texting me just good luck. Hope I can take this home so I can figure something.
Shout out to EXP9 for kind of dominating this game. Not gonna lie, this is iconic. From the jury.
Distortion world. This is
It really was the distortion world beating you.
Maybe the distortion world was the friends we made along the way. And speaking of distortion, apps are out for season 12. You guys should apply. It's a lot of fun.
I would, but I'm taking a long break from orgs.
I don't know. I feel like Cam would do phenomenal with distortion. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't know about all that.
On second thought, maybe first food vibes. Who knows? What the fuck is saliva pizza? I just read back the I don't think I can say it out loud, but the saliva pizza shout out.
Yeah, shout out my fuck ass saliva fucking pizza. What the fuck was that?
honestly, it's a good chance that Nick not answering it was better than me giving an answer.
No, that's crazy.
I thought I was free from stupid Uki mouth, but no, every fucking
No,
call of these
you're
two
you're never
would
free
start with
from
this stupid Uki mouth.
You're never free from Uki Mouth or
No.
Switch.
No. Oh shit, Switch hasn't come up at all tonight.
Well, now
Also, shout out the fact that Jacob thought that Mr. Krabs would cannibalize and eat crab pizza.
Well,
I said pineapple first.
There
did say
is a
pineapple.
theory that crab meat is the secret ingredient in the crab, like the Krabby Patty secret formula.
I
It's
would've
not
said
canon by any means, but it's a theory.
I was about to say, like, I mean, also you can't put. Maybe there's plankton pizza out there somewhere in the world.
If there is, it's really, really small. You'll never catch me, Mr. Krabs. Oh, shit. Oh, I'm not muted. My bad.
Just so y'all are aware, if it does end in a tie for some reason, the tiebreaker will be a round of Uki mouth.
The tiebreaker is a circle round all over again.
Hi, Calypso.
All right, if I can get both the finalists back on camera real quick, and that includes you, Nick. All right, before Zeb reads the votes, I just want to give a quick little thank you to everyone involved here. I know first seasons can be a little rocky and there were some growing pains along the way, but I'm super thankful to everyone that took time out of their day, out of their lives to play our little game here. Thank you to all of Prod here, from Sean killing it with the graphics to Zeb putting up with me not knowing what the fuck I'm doing half the time, to Mira taking to hosting these games very quickly, to Weez, who had a lot of personal stuff going on the side and was still able to help us out when possible, to everyone in the VL that was keeping up with things, to the project guests that were encouraging y'all, to just everyone involved with this. We are super excited to see what the next however many seasons of this come from. And now I'm going to pass it over to Zeb, who is going to read the votes for a winner.
Yep, like Mike said, thank you again to production. You guys have been great, but especially the players. I know it's a risk always to play the first season of any game, any org, and I'm thankful that you guys joined us on this 51-day long roller coaster. Again, I say that again, 51 days. You guys have been in the Paradox Big Brother house, but tonight there will be a winner crowned. I'm going to go in reverse juror order. So I'm going to start with Gianna. Again, you guys need, one of you needs 6 votes to win. I'll start. To start with Gianna. Gianna has voted for Nick Mana to win. Cam has voted for Jacob to win Paradox. Laura has voted for Nick to win Paradox. Denson has voted for Nick to win Paradox. Roberto has voted for Nick to win Paradox. Nick City has voted for Nick to win Paradox. John has voted for the winner of Paradox Season 1, the Shadow Games. Nick, congratulations. You have won this game. Just for the record, everyone can come on camera and, give Nick their, just for the record, Mike V has voted for Jacob. Ryu voted for Jacob. Casey voted for Nick. And Dex has voted for Jacob. Nick, if you have any words, that'll be the time.
Okay, I didn't want to bring it up in the finale. The last Big Brother game I played was Hypnotic, a game that I had a lot of strategic control over, and I went to the end of Denson and Minor, and I could not fucking win. So in this game, my one fucking goal was do not put yourself in an endgame that you cannot fucking win again, bestie. And it was really stressful to go to the end of two Big Brother games back to back, even though it was like 2 years of. Jacob, I love you so much.
Jacob, congratulations again. As you mentioned, we asked you about 3 hours before the game started to play. So to make it to final two is impressive. You have the floor as well.
It was a roller coaster. I'm glad it's over. Some of y'all may have noticed I stepped away from Bodo because trying to play multiple games at the time, being involved. Last time I done this, it destroyed me. So I'm proud of the game I played. I'm obviously disappointed by the outcome. I'm not gonna go pity party about it. Nick Mana played a phenomenal game. If I'm losing to anybody, I'm glad it was. I figured I was losing regardless of who I took the font to. So yeah, we'll see.
All right, and with that, we are done with the vote reveal. Again, congratulations, Nick, on the victory of the first season. And I don't know who's sharing, but we have awards.
That would be me, and it's time for the award ceremony. Woo!
I hope I'm nominated for everything, just specifically for the meme.
All right.
I'd support it.
Pull up my cute little slideshow here that I totally did not make, and Sean did. All right, here is the Shadow Games Awards. Woo! First, we have Social Player of the Season, and the nominees are Cam, Gigi, and Jacob. And the award goes to Jacob. Jacob definitely was the social powerhouse in the early stage of the game, even just from the first set of trust rankings that we did. Everybody kind of fell in like the 6, 7 average of the trust rankings. Jacob was at 3. So Jacob just did a good job just integrating himself and kind of being in on everyone's trust rankings, being high up there. And for that, Jacob, you are the social player of the season. Strategic player of the season. We have Ryu, Nick City, and Denson. And the strategic player of the season goes to Denson. Denson clocked pretty much most of what was going on with everything in this game, even from just how the Exodia powers were going to come into play, how the advantages were going to come into play. Just Denson just definitely had his finger on the pulse of pretty much everything that was going on in this game. And for that reason, Denson, you are the strategic player of the season. Next award, we have Physical Player of the Season, who was our resident comp beast. We got Jacob, Denson, and Roberto. And this award ends up going to Roberto. If for nothing else, Roberto was able to build the cup pyramid in about 3.5 minutes, which we do have the footage of that, and it is going to be released afterwards, but it was just ridiculous, and I don't understand how he is that good at. I was going to say something dirty, but I'm not going to. But for that, Roberto is the physical player of the season. But not only that, won 4 shield comps, 3 back to back to back. Just had he made it to the final 6, there's a very good chance he probably would have comped out. So next, we have our hero of the season. We've got Laura, John Farrell, and Denson. And our hero of the season goes to Laura. I think just throughout all the ups and downs of this game, Laura was just kept a level head even when she was on the wrong side of things, when she wasn't left out of votes, just didn't ever really see Laura, just kind of always maintained her composure, always maintained just kind of just a cool head in this game, was able to just use that to get into the end game. and you can't have a good hero without a good villain. And our villain of the season nominees are Cam, Nick Mana, and Jacob. And our villain of the season goes to Jacob, which was more of a villainous turn towards the end, just kind of seeing a little bit of the backstabby aspect of Jacob's game come out, but I think we just saw a little bit more of a villainous side, not a full-fledged, evil genius, but a little more of the evil side come out of Jacob, and we did personally love to see it. So for that, Jacob is our villain of the season. Next, we have underdog of the season. We got Laura, Gigi, and we have Nick. And the award goes to Gigi. And Gigi, from your interview prior to the season started, you said that you just kind of lay low at the start of the game, and once we hit jury phase, you start kind of coming out of your shell, making the big moves, and we definitely saw that. And there was a good chance, had you gotten to the end, felt you would have had a very good run at winning this thing, and you just were definitely turned into a powerhouse towards the end of the season, but you definitely did the damn thing. So next we have Best Diary Room. We've got Laura, Ryu, and Cam. And the Best Diary Room goes to Cam. If for no other reason, Cam had the funniest diary room, even if it was just the crashing out, the voice notes, Cam put a 7-minute voice clip the other day of just venting and ranting about various ongoings throughout the game, and they were all just hilarious to listen to. And there was constant just whatever going on in Cam's prod chat, and it just was thoroughly entertaining. Even to the point of seeing Cam on calls with people playing the nice act, and in his prod chat being like, I don't want to talk to this person. I would rather do anything right now. It's just thoroughly entertaining. Best move of the season, we ended up giving it to Laura using her Monster Reborn power to ruin Cam's Deckmaster round when her and Denson were up for banishment. Just really shook up the end game there, and Cam ended up having to nominate more than half of the house at Final 7, and just Laura holding on to that power and waiting for the right time to use it gets our move of the season.
More like the only chance I had to use it.
Hey, that's even better. And likewise,
so it didn't expire at Final 10?
And likewise, the biggest blunder of the season. We've got
Give it to me. Give it to me.
Jacob not telling Laura about the John blindside. Mike interrupting Dex's power play, then blocking it before Mike even knew what it was. And we have Denson not backdooring Nick Mana at the Final 10. And the award goes to... whoops. I don't know how to go back here, but Mike, congratulations for the memes. You won biggest blunder of the season.
Oh my God.
Look, this early into my hosting career, trying to decide what to do in that moment and trying to keep a straight face, because I can't tell Mike to wait.
Shut up.
Yeah, I am kind of sitting there like, okay, I guess I gotta let him do this, because if I tell him to wait 5 seconds, he won't do it. I mean, I guess he kind of made his decision here. So, Mike, it was.
I do want to say, one, I did find a way out of it. I did find a way to survive, even though I didn't deserve to. And two, I don't see what else I would be using that Mirror Force on anyway. From what I've seen in the time of I was in the game, I just don't know what else I would be using it on.
Well, it definitely was not only the biggest blunder, but the most iconic moment of the season, in my opinion, in terms of just hilarity. Just the entire night.
There's so many people out there that don't let me live that moment down. Shout out specifically to Kevin Falk.
I was dying.
Kevin. And next we have our robbed pre-juror. We've got Cake, Aston, And Dex, technically, even though he was on the jury, he was still voted out in the pre-jury phase. And fortunately for Dex, you are the most robbed pre-jury. You were a sentence away from making it to the jury phase had Dex played his power and not had it be noped by Mike V. Not only would Dex have been on the jury, but that entire round goes differently because we would have seen the votes go a different way than it being a Dex Mike round. It would have ended up being a Lustiana as one of the noms, and then we would have had to have a house vote because it was a three-way tie between Casey, Cam, and Jacob that round. So things could have went a lot more sideways there, but instead we got Mike V's TV moment. So at our most robbed juror, we've got Ryu, Denson, and John, and the award goes to Denson, who, again, as the strategic and social powerhouse this game, had Denson made it to the end, y'all had no chance of beating Denson. And just for that, we gave Denson the award for most robbed juror. And next we have the Alliance of the season. We've got the Silent Killers consisting of Cam, Jacob, Nick, and Roberto. We've got the Prison Wardens featuring Nick, Laura, Jacob, and Denson. And the Don't Have a Name Yet Alliance featuring Jacob, Cam, and Nick Mana. And the award goes to, ended up being 3 of our final 4, the Don't Have a Name Alliance. Then I think these 3 linked up pretty early in the game, and this name came from us harassing them to finally name their damn alliance so that we could make them a VC. And they said, we don't have a name yet. And upon asking, is that your name? They said, yes. It stuck, but these 3, there was a reason they were nominated for villains of the season. These 3 were just in the background of everything. One of them was always involved in something and just really ran not only the end game, but were just a constant presence in everything going on. And now we have our host fave. Obviously, we love all of you, but we did want to just shout out that one person that caught our attention throughout this. And for me, I think this person was just constantly just fun to see them play, see how their mind worked, see how they were able to navigate all the craziness of this game, even seeing them when hosting a comp, show them what it would be, and then being like, oh, fuck, I'm going to be shit at this. And I ended up giving my host fave to Laura. Laura, I just loved watching you play this game. I think just between the I hate my schedule, this comp, I'm not going to be good at this. Oh, fuck, what am I going to do? Loved having you, Laura. So,
Not like every single comp, I was sitting there like, oh, fuck.
And Zeb, you want to go next?
Of course. Now I know I wasn't the most like active prod member, but I was lurking, I was watching, I was posting my, Mr. Krabs gifts in the house chat. So I
missed those so much in the jury house.
Especially the prod chats were like my main source of information. So I'm going off of who I felt that besides what I saw in the house chat, what I saw in the game, but I think this person specifically, I really enjoyed their gameplay this season. I've heard a lot of good things about how they play Big Brother, and I never got to see it until this game. And I think it was just that on top of their prod chat where like they were just constantly not only giving game information, but like being funny as hell at the same time while doing it. So I'm just gonna land the plane. I did choose Denson. I feel like I've only hosted Denson once, and I wasn't able to give my flowers to him. And this game, I think he definitely proved to me why he is a great Big Brother player. And I'm just super thankful that Denson was able to play this game. So I'm also reading Mira's. So Sean, can you bump that for me, please?
It's like 3 messages up. You can't just
a lot from me. Anyways, just act like I'm Mira, okay? So Mira says, getting to look at your eternal stream of consciousness and your DR, maybe cackle on a daily basis. Genuinely, the amount of things I wanted to yap about you with, just genuinely loved it. Your evil little devious mind, you. And she chose Cam as her host favorite. Good job, Cam, from Mira.
Word.
Word indeed. All right. Sean, are you able to?
Yeah.
Alrighty, you up.
I'm sad because the person I chose is not even on the call. Um,
I'm right
but I
here.
feel
No, I'm
like
just kidding.
the person I chose honestly set the tone for the season because this person that was cast did not know anyone in the game. Um, and honestly, he just set the tone. So I chose Rio as my host fave because putting up two people, not knowing like on that other side, like the two people he put up are people who are like really well known, like heavy personalities. So like he set the tone for the season.
All right, and last, Weeze's favorite. Again, Weeze was not around a ton, just life got in the way, which, we totally understand things happen, but Weeze's favorite picked as Gigi. Which I don't have a statement, but Gigi, you were Weeze's fave to watch this season. And then getting into our player of the season, our pots, we got Cam, Denson, and Gigi. And this award goes to our robbed goddess herself this season, the last juror. We gave it to Gigi. Again, just very underestimated and kind of watching her go from under the radar to possibly being a big, not sorry, not possibly, from being a big contender to winning towards the end of this game. Gigi was just constantly in the mix of things, just grew into this game, and I think was just an absolute joy to watch. And I loved having Gigi here, and we are more than happy to give her the award as our player of the season, as Gigi was just killing it on all ends of this game here. So, and that concludes it for our awards. Just want to again thank you all so much for playing our game. Thank you all for being a part of this. And
Hold on, there was more to
I
the.
am stupid because I am not done. Silly me here. But there is actually one more thing we would like to say here. And I'm gonna play it off. I'm gonna play it off like I did it on purpose, even though I didn't. Hey Siri, text our new production member, get ready, as we would like to announce who will be joining our prod team for season 2. None other than the one, the only. Is she here? She's here.
She is.
Jen Ram will be joining us.
Oh
for
shit, is that
season
my
2
fraud guest?
and
Hello?
beyond. We will see what we are excited to see, and there is baby Charlotte there who
Charlotte's joining prod. Let's
will
go.
not be
Oh,
joining
love
prod,
her.
unfortunately, but so we are happy to see Jen join us here for our adventure here in season 2. And I'll leave y'all with this. We are looking at season 2 starting up sometime in the fall. And we are excited to see where the Paradox journey goes from there. And we're hoping that it will just be an absolute more phenomenal time when we come to the fall. And we will see y'all then. Until then, this has been Paradox the Shadow Games. I've been Mike. He's been Zeb. That's
Hey,
been
me too.
Sean. That's been Mira. That's been Weeze. This has been our players. Nick, congratulations again. Feel free to hang out as long as y'all want here. I'm going to